levy to which taxpayers object. If a petition is filed, Cedar Lake Civil Town shall adopt with the budget a finding concerning the objections in the petition and testimony presented. Following the aforementioned hearing, the proper officers of Cedar Lake Civil Town will meet to adopt the following budget. Public hearing date Tuesday, October 6th. Adoption meeting Tuesday, October 20th. Meeting time 7 p.m. Okay. Ordinance resolution number 1366. Here we go again. Be it ordained, resolved by Cedar Lake Town Council that for expenses of Cedar Lake Civil Town for the year ending December 31st, 2021, the sums herein specified are hereby appropriated and ordered set apart out of the several funds herein named and for the purposes herein specified, subject to the laws governing the same. Such sums herein appropriated shall be held to include all expenditures authorized to be made during the year unless otherwise expressly stipulated and provided for by law. In addition, for the purposes of raising revenue to meet the necessary expenses of Cedar Lake Civil Town, the property tax levies and property tax rates as herein specified are included herein. Budget Form 4B for all funds must be completed and submitted in the manner prescribed by the Department of Local Government Finance. This ordinance resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and approval by the Cedar Lake Town Council.
And Clerk Treasurer, could you go through those numbers for us, please, as part of that ordinance introduction?
Oh, got it. Good, thank you. So for our general fund, we're looking at a budget of $5,287,576, a tax levy of $2,703,625, estimated tax rate of 0.5005. Lease rental payment, that is the 2017 A, B, and C bonds, estimated budget of $593,450, estimated tax levy $688,473, estimated tax rate of 0.1274. The police pension fund, an estimated budget of $187,200, estimated tax levy 0. Estimated tax rate is also 0. Local road and streets, estimated budget of $195,000, tax levy of 0 and a tax rate of 0. Motor vehicle highway, estimated budget of $511,910, estimated tax levy $56,326, estimated tax rate of 0.0104. Cumulative capital improvement, the CCI fund, estimated budget of $32,500, estimated tax levy of 0, estimated tax rate 0 as well. CCD, that's the cumulative capital development fund, estimated budget of $383,507, estimated tax levy $306,420, estimated tax rate 0.0567. That is the max, 5 cents. Redevelopment general, estimated budget $46,390, estimated tax levy $56,326, estimated tax rate of 0.0104. Redevelopment bond, estimated budget $376,500, estimated tax levy $222,324, and estimated tax rate of 0.0412. So those are all of the DLGF approved funds. So that is a total estimated budget of $7,614,033. Estimated tax levy of $4,033,494. Estimated tax rate of 0.7466. We also have our home rule funds, which are not reviewed by DLGF, but we always put a budget in there for them. Lake County Solid Waste, we have an estimated budget of $29,277. That fund, we normally receive 2 distributions from the Lake County Solid Waste, but right now things are up in the air. We don't know how distributions are going to look for that from them in 2021. Casino gaming, $109,000. Park non-reverting, right now we've got $19,005 in there. Unfortunately, that's one of those non-reverting funds since we didn't have soccer this year, since we didn't have any day camp. The fund balance is low, so it'll take, having those programs bringing in, getting back to normal, I'll say. And that's why we have that lower than previous years. Law enforcement continuing education, 29,500. CEDAT, 255,869. The tourism innkeeper's tax, 9,450, because we did not make the distribution this year. You guys went ahead and approved a distribution to the Historical Association. But being that they've now pushed their event into 2021, that distribution will then occur when they have that event next year. Lowell Public Safety, 225,000. As stated before, that'll go towards PSAP expenses. So for a total for the home ruled funds, as it sits right now, $677,596.
Question on the tourist money. Did we get any money in because the hotels have,
We received a small distribution, $4,725,
We did get that amount
but
of
we
money?
did get that amount of money in.
I'm impressed.
So whether or not we'll get a 2021 distribution remains to be seen, but we did get 2020 and we will distribute that as you guys already approved.
Thank you, Jen. We have public comment on the budget. Is there any public comment on the budget? Third call for public comment on the budget. Okay, public comment is closed. Town council discussion.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything other than, I like the format that we use this year.
I have, I would like to mention that we've got a town manager that's gonna get $90,000, a town administrator that's moving into another department that's gonna get $72,100, operational director that's gonna get $72,000. Superintendent of Public Works is getting $53,622.40. The police chief is getting $72,100. The fire chief is getting $72,100. The town utility clerk gets $60,881.60. And then the superintendent of water gets $53,539.20. The superintendent of wastewater gets $52,436.80. And the technical director gets $66,950. But then we've got our clerk treasurer. She's only getting $51,645.36. She came in here the first year and she worked 2 jobs. She didn't hire herself. She did both jobs by herself. And it's the last clerk treasurer, we were borrowing money every time we turned around. We went into 2020 with a positive amount of money. And I'm just a little upset that we didn't give her a bigger raise.
Hey, Bob, I would like to comment on that, Mr. Chairman, if I could. I would just like to say, first of all, you read all those salaries and you said this position, that position gets. People earn, and we went through all this at the budget workshop. And I think we discussed quite a bit of it in depth, so.
I didn't have that packet.
Your comment's well taken. At the same time, it's kind of a graduated scale, et cetera, for that type of position.
Thank you, Bob, for your comments. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
I want to say about this process, working with Crone and with our clerk treasurer, our town administrator, our department heads. We started this, in about April, I think, with some of our first meetings. This has been probably the most informative and involved process that we've ever undertaken. The council has been very involved. The Council Affairs Committee, we've had numerous reports, a lot of negotiating and asking hard questions to ourselves. The obvious priority that was reflected in the budget is public safety. A lot of talk of defunding public safety, not here. Here we are looking to increase our commitment to it because without a safe community, you have no community. And as Corby mentioned, we've experienced turnover. We've been a training ground for both police and fire for other departments. And the young lady that was here tonight, we wish to keep people like this in our community. Folks that grow up here and work here, invest in the town. And those are people that are really important to the continuity of a town. So you can see the commitment that the taxpayers are making through us to public safety. I want to thank the taxpayers of our town. We're very lucky. Chicago's looking at 1.2 billion in budget cuts. Cedar Lake throughout COVID has seen a very high tax collection rate, upwards of 97%, 96. Normally we see a little over 99, but it shows that we've got a great community of blue collar workers. They're paying their taxes, they're paying their utility bills, and we're very, very lucky to have a community of such loyal and good taxpayers. So thank you to the taxpayers of this community for supporting this town. It can't be done without you. We are just the conduit. We're who you elect to appropriate that money, and we hope we're doing a good job. So that's my comments. Thank you. Any other council discussion? Okay, town council decision on the first reading of ordinance 1366.
I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 1366 for the 2021 budget.
I'll
First reading.
second.
Motion by Mr. Foreman, second by Ms. Sheben. Questions or discussion on the motion? Roll call vote.
Robert Carnahan,
No.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheeben,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 6-1. Thank you. Second reading will be at the October 20th town council meeting. That will be the adoptive reading. Before we go on to public comment, I want to make one adjustment to the agenda. We have Mr. Eberly here with us tonight, and in an effort to move it along so he can celebrate his anniversary with his wife.
Sorry.
After the consent agenda, I would like to move item 1 under new business, employment contract, to that slot. So public comment on agenda items, please.
Mary Jo Dixon, 711 West 132nd Place. Under new business, item 9 is about the park impact fee. At that time, if you can share with the audience some of the things you've done with the current fees that have been collected since 2016, I think that would let people understand a little bit why that's collected.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Bill. Okay, thanks. Any other public comment on agenda items? Public comment on agenda items? Public comment is closed. We have our consent agenda. The minutes of the September 1st, September 15th meetings. Claims, all town funds, $113,813.52. Wastewater operating, $240,616.77. Sewer sinking, $36,400. Water utility, $37,023.38. Stormwater, $7,037.03. 2017 RDAA construction, $39,470. And payroll for September 17, 2020 and October 1, 2020, $470,109.07. We have donations by Root Brothers, in-kind donation of sanitizer valued at $4,700. Town Hall building use election day, 11/3/2020 from 5 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Clubhouse use and fee waiver for Cub Scouts Mondays 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. See request for dates. And town grounds use and fee waiver for Veteran Reaction Force Brian Jones, October 17, 2020. Is there a motion to accept and waive the reading of the minutes and accept the consent agenda as listed?
I'd like to make that motion, but with the Cub Scouts and their waiver fee, I would like to waive their fee to January the 1st. Instead, they're asking for about 25 times for us to waive their fee. And we are looking at changing the way we're renting the clubhouse out. Right now, we're giving away at least 20% of the thing. And I would like to see a fee for people that live in town and people that live out of town, and a fee for not-for-profit organizations for next year, and talk about that and get it on the books. Like here, let them get going, and I'd like to approve it till, to January 1st for 'em.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Miller with a contingency. Is there a second?
So moved.
Motion, second by Mr. Foreman. Questions or discussion?
I'd like to compliment Jen on her docket. On the last few pages, it's got each individual listed a lot better than we had that long line that really didn't explain anything to me, and I think it's an improvement.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Jen. Any other council discussion? Roll call vote?
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes,
Colleen Scheeben.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Julie Rivera.
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Now we'll go to item 1 under new business. We're skipping ahead, which is the listed as employment contract. This is the town manager employment contract. Mr. Austin, would you please introduce this since you wrote it?
This is a written agreement with Richard Everly to be your town manager, consistent with Indiana state law, based upon the compensation negotiations or discussions that were had. There's a term of time for this contract to the end of the majority of this council's time period in office in this term. So that would be 2022, I believe.
2023.
2023, December 31st.
Yep.
There's a graduated income schedule. Standard benefits are provided, and Rick is given the full authority under the statute affirmed by this contract to do the job.
Thank you. Has the council had a chance to review the contract?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Before we vote on it, I would like to introduce Rick Eberly to everyone. We had a very unique opportunity this year to talk with Rick Eberly a little bit about the growth of our community back before COVID. And it was a very positive conversation. Some of us have known Rick a long time from his time in Dyer. And he's a very highly thought of municipal administrator in Northwest Indiana. And we were lucky that as things kind of settled down with COVID, that he was still interested in us, and we were interested in him. And it was a very unique opportunity to bring someone in with the amount of experience that Rick has. And I asked him for a bio, and it's kind of a reflection on who Rick is. His bio is one page, very simply written, so it reflects his humility. I think that he will approach the opportunity to serve the citizens of Cedar Lake with that same sort of humility. He began his career in 1989 as a zoning administrator for the town of St. John and served in that capacity for 3 years. And then Dyer recruited him to come and work in that same capacity. He worked for the town of Dyer for 24 years in various positions, including zoning administrator, stormwater director, redevelopment director, and in the final 5 years, town administrator. He retired in 2016, took some time off, and then went back to work for the town of St. John in late 2016 as its director of building and planning. While working for the town of Dyer, he was active in the Chamber of Commerce, having served on several board positions, including a year as its president and being named a Chamber of Commerce Person of the Year. He was active in the Indiana Association of Floodplain and Stormwater Management, having served in several board positions, including a year as its president and having received its award as INAFSM Person of the Year. He was also active in the Redevelopment Association of Indiana during his time in Dyer and served that organization as its president for 1 year. And he and his wife have been consistent blood donors and been involved in running blood drives over the years. And she ran a blood drive at St. Thomas More in Munster for approximately 12 years And he ran a blood drive in at Dyer Town Hall for 4 years. He and his wife have 6 children, 11 grandchildren, having welcomed grandchildren numbers 10 and 11 in July and September of this year. They range in age from 15 years to 1 month old. And in their free time, they enjoy spending time with grandchildren and hiking and golfing. So you can see that the experience that we're gaining here is quite voluminous. We're very, very lucky to have an opportunity to work with Rick and look forward to watching our organization grow under his leadership. So Rick, if you would come forward and offer a few words.
Thank you, Randy. I think I need to start first by thanking Mr. Austin. I'm sure that I have this opportunity because I've known Dave. I've had the pleasure of knowing Dave for over 30 years. Our paths have crossed. We've worked together when I was in Dyer and he was the town attorney there. So I thank you, Dave, for making this possible. Bob, our paths have crossed over the years at IACT functions. Had the pleasure of working with Cliff for the last 4 years. And I really look forward to serving the town of Cedar Lake and its residents for the next 3 years at least, till the end of 2023. I do want to comment on what Randy said and Jen backed up, that the 97% collection rate in these troubled times, that is hats off to your residents for that kind of ability to pay their taxes and keep the services working and operating in Cedar Lake. I look forward to working with the department heads and all the departments in the furtherance of the goals of the council for the town of Cedar Lake.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Appreciate the
Thank you for
words.
this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Well, now we have a vote on the employment contract. So is there a motion by the council?
So moved.
Motion to approve, Bob?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll second.
A second by Colleen, first by Bob. Any questions or discussion on the motion? Roll call vote, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheven,
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yeah.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. And in case you are wondering, our town administrator, who has served us very admirably in a very difficult time, was offered the position of planning director. And we look forward to working with her as she grows into a new leadership role in town, a very important one. She's inventing the position. We've never had this position before, so the council has the utmost confidence in Jill and her leadership ability and trust that we have in her to move our department in building and planning with the assistance of Mr. Everly, as well as our longtime building commissioner, Mr. Kubiak. We think we've got a heck of a team that's coming together here that's really going to help to hopefully create as smooth a sailing as we possibly can as we continue to grow. So thank you, Jill, for your years of service as town administrator. It's greatly appreciated. Our next council meeting on the 20th, as long as Rick and everybody signs the contract, we will have a new town manager in place. Thank you very much and enjoy your anniversary. Thank you for attending. Happy anniversary to you as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
We move to ordinances and resolutions. Item 1 under ordinances and resolutions is ordinance 1359, Hanover Community School Corporation annexation. The first reading was September 1, 2020. Ms. Rivera by its title only for the second reading.
Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, ordinance number 1359. An ordinance annexing certain contiguous land to the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, and all matters related thereto.
Thank you very much, Mr. Austin.
This is the penultimate action of the council on the public hearing, fiscal plan, 21 acres, I think, approximately being annexed to permit the construction of the additional complex school corporation in our on West 141st Avenue. Ready to go So with your adoption, reading tonight, publication will be made in the newspapers immediately. And 30 days for that.
Thank you. Is there a motion by the council to approve the second reading, adoptive reading of ordinance 1359?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Sharp. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Rivera. Questions or discussions?
Mr. President, I just wanted to acknowledge that the attorney for the school, Nick Otis, is available on Zoom if there had been any questions.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for attending as well, Mr. Otis.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheeben,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Neiman.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Thank you again, Mr. Otis.
Thank you, council, and thank you, Mr. Austin.
President,
Mr. Austin.
your plan commission can anticipate seeing a petition once the publication occurs. And my understanding is that late November proceedings will begin before the plan commission for the
Great,
land use approvals that are now.
good deal.
It's on task, it's on time.
Good. We look forward to seeing the referendum that passed and the monies that were raised being invested in the community.
Thank you.
Item 2 is ordinance 1363, public way vacation, Rago. First reading was September 15th, 2020. Ms. Rivera, would you read by its title only, please?
Ordinance number 1363, an ordinance vacating a public way, walkway in the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, and all matters related thereto.
Thank you. Mr. Weezer is here representing Mr. Rago. Mr. Rago and his wife are here as well. Mr. Austin, any comments?
This is the second adopted reading of this ordinance. There are some concerns on this property that I've shared with, or been shared with by your building department. Specifically, Tim and I have talked about this property with an issue of power lines. There are apparently electric power lines that cross this property that is sought to be vacated. And it's unknown what that means by way of safety and propriety for vacating property. So I offer that to you only for your consideration. Your staff's here, we've reviewed it internally, and there are some concerns in that regard.
Mr. Kubiak?
Yeah, that walkway is currently being used as a easement for the utilities. So there is a high voltage power line running through that walkway to service 3 or 4 other homes to the north of the property. So as far as vacating the walkway or the right of way or whatever it's called, in my mind, there still would not be able to be any type of permit issue to go to deck underneath of that power. So until the power lines are removed from the situation, it wouldn't be advisable to issue a permit to build a structure underneath of the high voltage power line. This is not a service line to a house. This is a 5200 volt high power line that people transport. So I don't know what happened over the years. If it's not a utility easement, it's just a walking path. That would be my concern, that be addressed. I mean, that will have to be addressed in order to proceed with the next step. I guess if this is step 1 of vacating it, or I don't know. In this situation, who would be responsible to pay to relocate the electric, or if vacated, does that put, I don't know.
Mr. Weezer, would you care to comment?
Sure. Good evening. My name is Jim Weezer. I'm a legal counsel for the Ragos. There is no utility easement. There may be power lines there, but there is no NIPSCO easement. So certainly we're not, nor are my clients, obligated to do anything with those lines. What we asked for was solely and exclusively to vacate a public walkway. Had nothing to do with NIPSCO easements or power easements. I'd further point out that the public hearing on this matter was conducted on September 15th. If there was an issue that should have been raised at that meeting, that's when that's supposed to be done. The public hearing was closed. This is too late, and it's an issue, and I don't disagree that there's maybe a concern about the power lines that are there, but there can be no resolution of that by us because there's no NIPSCO easement, nor do I know, I don't know if NIPSCO can resolve it. I can't speak to that. I can only say that the easement that we requested be vacated, which has been previously vacated in an adjoining property and can never be utilized for a public walkway, is not governed by, nor should it be denied because there's suddenly an issue with power lines over which we have no jurisdiction, over which you probably have no jurisdiction, and NIPSCO, at least legally and technically, has no, maybe legally has no jurisdiction because there's no NIPSCO easement. So I wanted to make it clear for the record that at the outset, there was a discussion between David and made mention that he and Tim had a discussion about an easement. And I want to make it clear that our search and our review of the record and the title in no way indicates that there's an easement that is in favor of NIPSCO. So there is no, in my opinion, there's no legitimate legal reason for denying this request to complete their home, which they now would not be able to move into were this to be denied. And I think that's a fair statement of the record as it stands before you now.
Well, yeah, the way I look at this, if I may, Mr. Chairman,
Floor is yours, John.
most people have power lines out by the road that travel across their front yards. And some people then choose to bury those power lines so that they don't have the obnoxious power lines going above their front yard. This was vetted quite a bit at the Plan Commission, and the homeowner, I think, if he or she wants to build their deck, may in fact have to ask to have those perhaps put underground to the end of their property, and then maybe then NIPSCO could do what they do. But again, these are not your traditional secondary voltages. These are your primary voltages, which means there's
more than one.
the power is going over to the next pole, and then there's the step down transformer to normal voltage that goes into the person's home. But I still don't see the difference between above ground, vacating the easement, and underground. So if they can't build the deck, I think the next logical step would be they would have to put the thing underground perhaps, if there's an issue with safety that we're not good with being held harmless. But I think that is different than the vacating of the roadway. I too agree.
I have a question for you, Mr. Weiser. So, and I'm obviously not a NIPSCO representative, don't know much about how they do their business, but if a structure was to be built under power lines that feed more than one resident, so it's not just a single resident power line, and there was a storm like this derecho that went through this summer that, say, knocked down a line, how would NIPSCO access something like that if there was a structure built right underneath the line?
How could they access it?
Yeah.
Well, in the particular case of my clients, they're right at the corner of 139th. They just park on 139th and access it. I don't see any.
What I mean is that if
at all.
that line is laying across their roof or something, that if they built a structure directly under it and it affects 3 other properties or 2 other properties there, how does that get addressed?
Well, I have no problem in discussing with my client how we can address that issue, which is a separate and distinct issue from the vacation of the public walkway. It has nothing to do with the vacation of the public walkway. I agree it has to do with safety. You're right, Randy, I agree with you there. It has to do with safety, and we'll be glad to contact NIPSCO and make an inquiry and try to come to some understanding with NIPSCO as to how that can be resolved or how it can be addressed, I suppose is probably the better term. And we'll do that, and we'll be happy to do that because that's a legitimate issue. But that is not an issue. That is an issue separate and distinct from what you're considering in your ordinance.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. President,
You're welcome.
Mr. Austin?
with all due respect, Jim, at the public hearing, either you or your clients indicated that NIPSCO had been contacted and had no issue with it, but we do not have any documentation of that other than the oral advocacy here on the floor. Number one. Number two, I just heard, I think I heard you say, I could be wrong, maybe I misheard it, that your clients will be unable to complete their home without this public way vacation being granted, which strikes me as kind of interesting in the context of setbacks and assumptions of. This is something that the building commissioner and I have talked about also, kind of cart before the horse, for personal necessity purposes, kind of making the necessity, kind of creating it, if you will. I'm searching for the right word here. You're not very legal tonight. And finally, if in fact you all experience the same thing I experienced, and that is that NIPSCO goes out about once a week, power outages are frequent. There may well be a need to assess whether this walkway, this public walkway, may be a staging or area of use or necessity for that utility to utilize for restoration or rehabilitation services. I know they're up and down my street and it's not very big, not very wide, and not very accommodating. So it's a consideration given what you indicated, John, or Tim did, the nature of the size of or the type of transmission line these are at the high levels. So there's really a lot of considerations, none of which are all by themselves dispositive, but in combination, certainly go to where your discretion is about what you think is in the public interest for public safety and for considering your discretionary decision making on propriety here of this legislation.
You bet, point well taken.
Thank you. Thanks, Dave.
I did want to just mention to the council one thing. I believe what should happen, I went and checked it out. I think the transformer should be placed just south of this home that's being built. And then the lower voltage should be transmitted to those other two houses on the other side of his. I don't believe his pulls off of this line. And, but again, that's not our call. I think again that, would your client be willing to allow, in the event NIPSCO did want to put the transformer and bury a line under their property, but then they, out in front of their deck, would they then allow for that to occur in the event they wanted to do it? But as of right now, these lines exist. I think that lines existing are separate from the vacation.
Well, obviously I can't answer that since we got blindsided by this tonight instead of at the public hearing when it should have been brought up.
Sure.
So that's impossible for me to answer. And I only mentioned, just to clear the record, I mentioned that we can't build because at the outset of this, we were told that Mr. Kubiak won't allow us to build any further until this issue is resolved. That's what I meant to say. Even though we got a building permit and even though we built according to your building permit correctly and properly till the job was stopped because the permit apparently was improvidently issued. So,
Mr. Kubiak?
I mean, there was never a building permit issue for any type of deck. It was not an application for any type of deck. There was no deck included on the site plan for the new home. So the new home is built exactly it's 2 feet off of the property line, which he came and got a variance for to build up to that walking path. He does have a 2-foot regular service door facing the lake to go out onto a future deck by his choice. But by no means did he ever present to anybody that he was building a deck. I mean, he may have had a door on that plan that he got approved to build at that, on that property. There was a door on his blueprint, but other than that, I mean, again, I review plans. I mean, once a plan goes to the BZA for the variance request, he pretty much filled up that entire property, got it road vacated to the opposite side of the property to get his garage built. I mean, by no means was he ever concerned about putting a deck there, because it would have been on the site plan, it would have been shown somewhere that there is no deck permitted anywhere on this home to the lake. So there could be a door put to the south and exit the house and go down to the lake. There's plenty of things that can happen. And again, this is their choice. You guys, they're doing what they're doing. And to be honest, I mean, I agree, someplace the road was vacated, it opens up building something all the way to the lakefront, which has been, that path has been kind of that kryptonite area where people have that open view of the lakefront there. It's all, all the way along to the conference grounds. There's nothing built down there because of this walking path separates the property. So again, the electric is in there. You cannot bury electric in a place that's not an easement. There's currently a walking path there. I mean, there's something has to be done with the electric first and foremost. I talked to Mr. Rego when we started talking about this thing. I said the first thing that needs to be addressed is somehow figuring out what to do with that electric before I could say I would be in favor of vacating that what's there, because that way there's 4 other people serviced, 3 other people serviced by that power line, which obviously, if legally there's not an easement for electricity there, I'm not going to get into that argument, but there is a easement of some sort for that to be there right now. And it's there. I mean, it's existing, it's there. And to build you can't build underneath of that high voltage power line anyway, so that's not. I just don't understand why this NIPSCO part wasn't addressed prior to this. I mean, I feel that once this is gone, now we're putting them 4 houses. Pretty much, I don't know if that's the plan to say, this is my property, now get the power out of the way, which, who does that fall on? Does that fall on me? I don't know. If they don't have a right to be in there, that's another thing.
Well, I guess what's the difference if a person owns to the center of the road, NIPSCO has the poles on their side of the street, NIPSCO has their poles on someone else's property anyway.
Right, but the power lines are
Doesn't mean
running
it's right.
directly over the top of the structure.
Kids play under high voltage power lines all the time, including parks in St. John, for example.
They do. Mr. President,
Mr. Austin.
you may recall, Tim was not at your last meeting when the public hearing was conducted on this matter. So you were not able to have his comments on the record. As a consequence, he is your staff, he is your building commissioner, and he's the one who issued the permits and or inspected for compliance.
Okay. Mr. Weezer, anything concluding, or then we'll go to a council decision on it.
I guess all I can say in conclusion is there's a lot of times when a whole lot of people can't make public hearings, but they're aware of a situation as Tim was and could have easily recorded his comments and provided them to you in writing, since he's been aware of the situation as he acknowledged for months. So that could have been easily provided. So the fact that he wasn't here is of no consequence.
His father.
I respect that. I didn't know that, but I respect that. I respect that. But these comments could be made months ago, and I'm confident we would have addressed the issue.
You also told me to apply to get it vacated, and then I could move.
And then you also
told me that.
Well.
Okay. Mr. Weezer had the floor.
I have nothing further.
Okay, thank you. We'll go to a council decision at this point. Passed on first reading on September 15th, ordinance 1363, public way vacation. Is there a motion by the council on ordinance 1363?
Again, I believe I made the motion the last time to vacate the parcel. We vacated the parcel to the south of this area. If a person cannot necessarily build the deck because of safety underneath it, that's a separate issue. The house initially didn't show the deck. So I, again, would like to make a motion to vacate the public way, ordinance number 1363.
Motion.
Adopt, I'm sorry.
Motion by
to
Mr.
adopt.
Foreman to adopt. Is there a second?
It's a separate issue from the deck.
Is there a second?
I'll second. I agree with John.
Second by Ms. Rivera. Questions or discussion on the motion? Roll call?
Robert Carnahan,
No.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
No.
Colleen Scheven,
No.
Richard Sharp,
No.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer.
No. So that's 5 noes, 2 yeses, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Motion fails 2 to 5. What's the next step here, Mr. Austin? What's that?
Another motion.
I'd like to make a motion to defer this to a future meeting, one that could be placed on a public agenda once additional items are taken care of with power.
So a motion by Mr. Foreman for deferral. Deferral, we'll carry it over to our next meeting. We'll keep carrying it over until there's a consideration on it.
That's correct.
Motion to defer, is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second on the deferral by Ms. Sheben. Questions or discussion on the motion?
Cool. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure I understand what's taking place. An ordinance was just denied.
Mhm.
But that, huh? I'm sorry,
The adopted reading.
The first reading was approved. The adoptive reading was just denied.
correct.
Mhm.
Unless you correct me if I'm wrong, that constitutes a denial. And that being the case, how can you defer a denial? You can't defer a denial. So the motion, although I respect what John's saying and I appreciate it, is a motion with no substance.
So the motion to
Thank
adopt
you.
was defeated. So
Correct. But so there's nothing, we can't defer something that's already been defeated.
Okay.
Unless a motion to deny
too late.
gets placed.
Jim's point is it's too late. He's
It's
right.
too late.
He's right.
Okay,
It's too late.
Thank you.
pull that motion off the table, sir.
Mr. Foreman removes his motion. Colleen, do you remove the second?
Yes.
Second has been removed. Ordinance 1363 is denied. Item 3 is ordinance 1364, year 2020 salary amendment. Ms. Rivera, by its title only, please.
Ordinance number 1364. An ordinance amending town salary ordinance number 1344, establishing jobs and salaries to be paid certain offices, positions, and jobs within the town of Cedar Lake for the calendar year of 2020, and repealing all ordinances or parts thereof in conflict herewith.
Thank you. You've heard the first reading of ordinance 1364. Is there a motion by the council to approve?
Could somebody have an explanation of this?
Certainly. Who would like to offer the explanation? Go ahead, Jill.
Mr. President and council, as you just previously approved the town manager position, this is amending the salary ordinance for that salary and adding the salary for the planning director.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a motion by the council to approve the first reading of ordinance 1364?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Ms. Sheben. Is there a second?
Okay.
Second by Mr. Sharp. Questions or discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheven,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Is there a motion to suspend the rules to allow for a second reading?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Sharp,
Second.
second by Mr. Miller. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheven,
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Second reading of ordinance 1364, year 2020 salary amendment. Ms. Rivera, by its title, please.
Ordinance number 1364, an ordinance amending town salary ordinance number 1344, establishing jobs and salaries to be paid certain offices, positions, and jobs within the town of Cedar Lake for the calendar year 2020, and repealing all ordinances or parts thereof in conflict therewith.
Thank you. You've heard the second reading of ordinance 1364. Is there a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Miller. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Sheben. Questions or discussion on a motion? Roll call vote, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheven,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yeah.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Niemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Ordinance 1365, job description amendment. Ms. Rivera, by its title only. Ms. Murr, explanation, please.
This was the handout.
Okay. Ordinance number 1365, an ordinance amending town ordinance number 1150, being an ordinance establishing job employment descriptions for the employees of the town of Cedar Lake, repealing all ordinances and town code sections or portions thereof in conflict herewith, including town ordinance number 1274, and all matters related hereto, adding the job description of planning director, job position for the town, and all matters related thereto.
Thank you. Ms. Murr?
Council, this is the job description for the planning director.
Thank you. And again, Jill is the pioneer of this, so we're blazing a new trail. And Mr. Austin, any comments on the job description?
No, I looked at it.
Yes, she did.
We probably tweaked it. So fine-tuned it.
Okay, thank you.
There's nothing like fire department.
That was a good one, Jill. Is there a motion by council to approve ordinance 1365 on the first reading?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Ms. Sheehan. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Sharp. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheven,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Neiman.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Is there a motion to suspend the rules to allow for a second reading?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Foreman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sharp. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheven,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Neiman.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Second reading of ordinance 1365, job description amendment. Ms. Rivera, by its title, please.
Ordinance number 1365, an ordinance amending town ordinance number 1150, being an ordinance establishing job employment descriptions for the employees of the town of Cedar Lake, repealing all ordinances and town code sections or portions thereof in conflict herewith, including town ordinance number 1274 and all matters related hereto, adding the job description of planning director job position for the town and all matters related thereto.
Thank you.
I did have one question, Mr. Chairman. Would that then be proactive, starting immediately? Or this new?
As soon as the transition is made and Mr. Eberly starts and Ms. Murr starts in her position.
Retro, Not 2021.
No,
Our new salary would start immediately.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you've heard the second reading of ordinance 1365.
I would again like to make a motion to adopt or approve 1365 job description amendment.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Foreman. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Miller. Questions or discussion? My left ear is a little better than my right. Roll call vote, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheven,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Neiman.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Item 5 is ordinance 1367, rezone 12828 Wicker Avenue, Davids. Ms. Rivera, by its title, please.
Ordinance number 1367, an ordinance reclassifying certain lands in the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana for zoning purposes and amending town ordinance number 496, being an ordinance replacing zoning ordinance number 278 entitled Cedar Lake, Indiana zoning ordinance passed and adopted by the Board of Trustees of the town of Cedar Lake, Indiana, and all amendments passed subsequent thereto, repealing zoning ordinance number 278, all amendments thereto, and all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, establishing new comprehensive zoning regulations for the town of Cedar Lake and providing for the administration, enforcement, and amendment thereof in accordance with the provisions of the Indiana state statute. Passed by the town council of the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, the 13th day of December, 1989, and all amendments passed subsequent thereto.
Mr. Austin?
This is very simple zone map amendment. Unanimously certified to you by your planning commission. It's in the right place, doing the right thing at the right time.
Thank you. Is there a motion by the council to approve first reading of ordinance, adopt the ordinance 1367 for rezone?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Sharp. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Rivera. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheven,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Neiman.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Item 6 is Resolution 1270, signatory authorization. Ms. Rivera, read the resolution by its title, please.
Resolution number 1271. Resolution.
1270.
I'm so off my mark today. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Resolution number 1270, signatory authorization resolution. Whereas the town of Cedar Lake, Indiana, the participant, has plans for drinking water infrastructure improvement project to meet state and federal regulations such as the Safe Drinking Water Act, and the participant intends to proceed with construction of such project. Now therefore be it resolved by the town of Cedar, by the town council, the governing body of the participant, that Randall C. Niemeyer, the town council president, be authorized to make application for a state revolving fund loan and provide the SRF loan program such information, data, and documents pertaining to the loan process as may be required, and otherwise act as the authorized representative of the participant. And the participant agrees to comply with the state and federal requirements as they pertain to the SRF loan program. And 2 certified copies of this resolution be prepared and submitted as part of the participant's preliminary engineering report.
Thank you. You've heard the complete reading of Resolution 1270. Is there a motion by the council to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Foreman. Is there a second? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Scheven. Questions or discussion?
Yes. What is this loan for?
President,
Mr. Austin.
this is the financing that we are pursuing our rate increase in Indianapolis for the IURC bond.
Yeah, what's not on here. I just want everybody to know that.
Oh, I'm sorry, and it's signatory form requirement by the SRF for the processing of the PDR and their engineering report, which is being filed tomorrow. It will be reviewed in conjunction with the settlement agreement, or stipulated agreement that has been made regarding rates, and will be presented to the SRF for their processing. We can expect that if, in fact, our process is good, we've done a good job with the work product, that the ruling from the commission comes down in late January, that we will have SRF funding of some sort by mid to late March.
And this will be for
And
several
this-
projects.
in mandatory form.
Yep.
They look for the executive to be authorized to sign.
Several water utility expansion and improvement projects.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Roll call vote.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheven,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Neiman.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Resolution 1271 is the PERF resolution. Ms. Rivera, by its title, please.
Resolution number 1271, resolution electing to join the Public Employee Retirement Fund as administered by the Indiana Public Retirement System.
Thank you. Ms. Murr?
Council, in looking at the previously approved job description as well as salary ordinance and updating with PERF the positions that are covered positions, working with the clerk treasurer's office and her staff to update and modernize our job descriptions that are covered under the position. We can update it to all full-time employees being covered positions in the PERF process. Therefore, we don't have to go back each time we have a different job description or amendment in a salary position to ask permission for PERF to include it. This also includes your fire chief and police chief if they are not eligible for the 77.
Thank you.
This is a modernization of the documentation, not a change to the PERF program.
Thank you. Is there a motion by the council on resolution 1271?
Mr. President, can that motion also include authorizing the council president to sign the document?
If they so please. Is there a motion by the council, including authorization of the town council president for signatory of it?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 1271 and authorize the council president to sign for it.
Thank you. Motion by Ms. Rivera, second by Mr. Sharp. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Scheven,
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Neiman.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. BZA / plan. Item 1 is use commitment, Precision Property LLC, 13220 Lindbergh Place. Ms. Murr.
Council, this comes out of several drafts and approvals for the property at 13220 Lindbergh Place. And with that approval that they received, the items and conditions are noted in item 1. The use commitment has been signed by the property owners, and it is recommended that council approve this and accept this use commitment, which was prepared by your council.
Mr. Austin?
That's exactly right. These are the conditions that were imposed by the BZA on the use variance application. They were consented to by the property owner applicant. They provide for a reasonable basis of understanding and controlling the property use for the business proposed.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
I had a question, Mr. Chairman. Jill, what is the business? And it's Lindbergh, that's right next to, by the Mexican store, right? Isn't that Lindbergh going into? Yeah, okay, Manco?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So it's the back building next to Josh Gobert's building?
This one is an auto and then over landscape will be in the back.
Oh, okay. So Precision Properties and automotive.
Automotive sales.
Is there a motion by the council to approve the use commitment as recommended?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Miller, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Foreman. Questions or discussion on the motion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Scheven,
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Neiman.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Item 2, owner petitioner. Now, I'm gonna need help with this name.
Right here.
When I read this, I'm rarely intimidated by agenda items, but this one I said, huh, I've never seen that. So go ahead and introduce yourself. Okay, okay. And last name? Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you, Chief. 13130 Wicker Avenue, special use variance. The Board of Zoning Appeals certifies a favorable recommendation to the town council for requested special use variance to allow the owner petitioner, names mentioned before. I just don't want to butcher it. You know, I'll take a knife to this thing, to operate a sales office for ZMC Auto Sales. I like that better. Incorporated, a B3 zoning district use in a B2 zoning district classification parcel, contingent upon an acceptable site plan being presented with the building permit / occupancy permit application and department approval, and the following conditions, namely 3 delineated and code compliant parking spaces. No vehicle shall be parked on premises for sale. There shall be no alterations to the grade of the property. An 8-foot arborvitae planting shall be placed along the west side of the property. The semi-trailer currently on the property shall be removed. No other similar vehicle parking shall be on the subject parcel. The only parking or storage shall be for the camper currently stored in the backyard, and the special use variance is granted for the petitioner / owner, and no other. This approval granted shall lapse and terminate in the event that the owner petitioner changes, either individually or by any type of business entity, by a vote of 5 in favor and 0 against. Is there a motion by the council with the findings of fact and
I had
contingencies
a
listed?
question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
For Jill or whomever. What did it say? There shall be no alteration here. No vehicles shall be parked on the premises for sale. Isn't it a car lot?
No.
Oh, it's not?
No.
But across the street, there's a car lot. So why would the BZA care if they sell cars?
You know which lot this is, John?
I think it's next to
It-
Frank's Barbecue.
It's just to the south of Howe Insurance Agency.
Oh, between there and Frank's?
Yes.
Well, that's
Oh, okay, so there's really no room.
Right.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
going the wrong direction.
okay, so it's the old Hanover, the old,
Yes, the old Hanover veterinary. house.
oh, next where, okay, on the corner. South of the house, okay.
Yes, ma'am. You,
Yeah, I just wanted to say two things.
yes, ma'am.
One, the semi-trailer has been removed. I don't know if you all noticed. And then two, we'd like the council to grant our request instead of putting up the 8-foot arborvitae along the west side of the property to allow us to put a 6-foot privacy fence along that side of the property.
The zoning appeals board would have been the one to have approved
Okay.
that.
Well,
Michelle,
let me get this clear. So on the south side of the property or on the north side?
west side,
Oh, on the west, which is your backyard.
correct.
So you want to put a 6-foot fence versus arborvitae?
Yeah, correct.
We have the authority to make that change if we so choose. Mr. Oster?
We do. Certainly. The certification to you, however, is based upon a fully vetted public hearing
You bet.
evaluation. So
Yeah, it just,
that's
I
the
mean,
balancing act.
I like it better from the standpoint, I understand there's residents behind it. But I feel as though having arborvitae that continuously grow very tall blocks your sun from getting in your backyard. So I think I would be in favor of making that motion with the 6-foot fence instead of the arborvitae. Yes, sir. Ted.
Well,
The
Mr.
only thing to
Foreman,
take into account, which I wasn't at the BZA meeting, but they do, their west property line does go up to 132nd, so that 6-foot privacy fence would have to end at the 30-foot building line, which would not be able to do the rest of that line. And that's probably, I don't want to say for sure, but that fence is not typically allowed because of the sight lines down the road, the fence, so. If you made that motion, I mean, I have no issues with the fence up to that line, but I think the trees would need to go from that 30-foot line to the road just to keep consistency and keep it.
But if the trees go to the road, that's going to create the same blockage. as the
There's still
6-foot fence.
vision, there's still trees. It's not a fence, you know.
But it creates the same triangle line of sight. I don't like
Just
the
a thought,
trees.
you can do what you want. Just
Yeah.
say it out loud.
Yeah, I would make the motion that I would like to make a motion in favor of this with the exception of a fence instead of the arborvitae up to our fence code in the subdivision control ordinance, which then means 30 foot from the road.
could that even be built at that point?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have the
Should
plat
probably
in
go
front
right
of
to
me.
BZA.
Mr. Kubiak?
You can return to the
Definitely
BZA.
could be built, the fence will go from the southwest corner to that 30-foot line, and then the trees can go from that line to the road.
Yeah.
Correct.
Ken, should we return it to them?
If they, yeah, well, but I don't even think I like the
necessarily
idea of trees
return.
going all the way to the road. you know? It's a line, it's a side issue for the folks living to the west of it. You know what I'm saying? If you go to pull out a
There's an
driveway.
ordinance- We have an ordinance in town that requires a buffer zone between the business and the residential property for sound,
Yeah,
noise,
I
and so on and so forth. So this is one of those things that meets that requirement, a berm, trees, plantings,
Yeah, I understand.
something. So, again, I wasn't at these meetings, but, I would be much more in favor to see a few spaced out trees there than I would. I mean, the 6-foot fence, is a whole nother variance request to bring that out.
Yeah, you can't go beyond the you can't go beyond 30 feet anyway. So yeah, that's my motion.
Okay, was anybody at the BZA meeting to know why they wanted this?
Yes.
Yeah.
To buffer the residences to the west.
And the BZA would be okay with us changing it to a fence?
Well, they put in their certification 8-foot arborvitae, so I would assume that that's
And
not what they intended.
Before
for
that
the
motion,
fence.
before that motion was made, they checked off on the record.
They did?
They did.
Yeah, and again, the arborvitae, as they grow 20 feet tall, it blocks people's sunlight. I think the fence is better. And
So we have a
then go
motion by
with the
Mr. Foreman accepting all of the contingencies listed by the Board of Zoning Appeals, aside from the 8-foot arborvitae, replacing it with a privacy fence.
Yes, 30 feet And then the arborvitae's then would finish the barrier to residential going from the 30 foot off the road in.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. Foreman. Is there a second?
Seems logical.
Is there a second? Is there a second? No second on that motion. Is there another motion by the council based on the recommendation of the BZA?
I make a recommendation that we follow the BZA.
Be a motion, Ralph?
Yes.
Motion by Ralph to follow the recommendation of the BZA. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sharp. Questions or discussion?
If we pass this motion, can the petitioner still go back in front of the BZA about the fence issue?
They have to start over.
They could apply for a variance to install a fence, correct, Tim? Just,
Well, I mean, they really get a build, they could get a building permit to install that fence up to that 30 foot line. without-
Today.
Not today.
We're closed.
They could apply in the morning to get, they could put up a fence and still put up the trees, maybe space them out a little more. They could put a fence up to that. Be
Right.
permitted to put a fence to that area without any problem.
Right, without a variance. That's kind of why I brought all that up in my first motion, because it's either or, 6 foot fence or that.
the only argument I would have made against your motion is that when there's a public hearing conducted in a public meeting, that's part of the due process of law that gives neighbors a chance to remonstrate. They don't have a chance to be here. This is a public hearing.
Fair. I'm trying to protect the person west of them that have sunlight in their yard.
Right, but that, at that public hearing was the chance for that to take place. So that would have been my only argument, but. Okay, we have a motion second. Is there any other questions or discussion?
So they can start at the fence, right?
According to our
they
building
can
commissioner,
still
they
do
can
so.
apply for a building permit. Any other questions or discussion? Roll call?
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Cuban.
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julia Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Neiman.
No, motion carries 6-1. Thank you. Item 3 is letter of credit, Centennial Phase 15. Ms. Murr or Mr. Austin? Who wants it? Hot potato.
There has been a determination of what the amount of surety should be by Don Oliphant, the consulting engineer. The developer needed a bit of relief for the form of that surety because their bank had timing issues with the delivery of a letter of credit. In turn, a bank cashier check was presented in the appropriate amount in the Don Oliphant specified amount under our code. Now the letter of credit is in and it requires your approval to accept. Letter of credit is the proper form of surety. And upon your action, if you accept the letter of credit presented, which has been checked, it's been verified, legal staff and engineering, there'll be a substitution of surety. I think Jen's holding this one in the safe. Happily so, it's not enough to run, but it's good. Thank you. So it's just a ministerial act essentially for a subdivision that's in the 15th phase.
Thank you. Is there a motion by the council to approve the letter of credit on Centennial Phase 15?
Motion to approve the letter of credit on page 15. Second.
Motion by Mr. Foreman, second by Mr. Sharp. Questions or discussion? Roll call?
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Cuban,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julia Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Neiman.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. We will move to item 2 under new business. We're getting through this.
Really halfway done.
Lakeshore Drive / Klein change order number 6. Ms. Murr.
Council, this is a change order I had mentioned at a previous meeting. This is change order 6 with the time extension. There's no dollar amount to it. This is part of the closeout documentation for the project. It's been reviewed by engineer and checked off with INDOT as well. It's the recommendation to approve this change order.
Thank you. Is there a motion by the council to approve change order number 6?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Sharp, second.
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Rivera. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheven, Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Item 3 is Lakeshore Drive Klein final inspection and recommendation for acceptance deferred from September 15, 2020. Ms. Murr.
Council, the items addressed that were reason for the deferral at the last meeting, that work was discussed and that work has been completed. That was a post in someone's yard as well as one of the markers on Klein and Lakeshore Drive. It is staff's recommendation to approve this recommendation for acceptance.
I spoke with Mr. Parker as well, and he was satisfactory, gave a satisfactory thumbs up to the improvements made. So I have no objections. Is there a motion by the council to approve the final inspection and recommendation for Lakeshore Drive and Klein as recommended?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Sharp. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Scheven. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheven,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Item 4 is Town Club Outlet Drainage Improvements Change Order 1. Ms. Murr.
Council, in front of you is change order 1 for the town club outlet drainage improvements. This was a change in the original project that was put out. Maintenance of traffic was a full road closure, and we changed it to a 1-lane flag for traffic for a duration of 5 days, changing a pay item. There was an increase to the project of $13,200, and with the update from Christopher Burke, 2-day substantial completion was achieved today. And there'll be a couple small checklist items, but it is our recommendation to approve change order number 1.
And that's still cheaper than the Dyer construction bid, right?
Correct. This is still under engineer's
Oh, yeah.
estimates for
It
the
was
project.
crazy.
Yeah.
Difference. About half.
And
Is there a
we're able
motion?
to get it in before the cotton place came through.
Is there a motion by the council to approve Town Club Outlet Drainage Improvements Change
So moved.
Order 1? Motion by Mr. Foreman,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Miller. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheven,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Item 5 is High Grove Subdivision Improvements Change Order number 4. Ms. Murr?
Council, this is the closeout change order for the High Grove subdivision improvements. It's a balancing change order. This is a decrease to the project of $101,562.72. This was checked off by Don Oliphant, as well as Tim was out there. There was some stuff we were waiting on seating to occur and close out of small items.
These are change orders I like.
Thank you. Is there a motion by the council to approve Change Order 4 for High Grove Subdivision Improvements?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Sharp, question, or second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Scheven. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheven,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Item 6 is special event Thrive Sports 5K, October 31st, 2020. Ms. Murr.
Council, in front of you is an application to hold a special event coming out of Thrive Sports on Wicker Avenue, heading north, doing a 5K run. It's a charity event for the Hoosier Burn Camp. Let me restart there. They're going to start at Thrive, head north on 41, right on 129th, then a right on Parish to 133rd Avenue, back on 41 to their facility, making a huge circle back to Thrive. They have talked with police on some traffic control and crowd control. This kind of falls out of the realm of a normal special event since it is on 41.
The US Highway.
On our streets.
I guess my question was, Does the road by Holy Name go all the way to, I'm gonna say Dickey Hens Road that goes south, or is that blocked?
It doesn't go all the way through, but it goes down through, yeah,
But that's all private property, isn't it? Okay, never mind. That was all my questions. I think it's a great idea. I'd like to make a motion to approve this special event drive sport 5K.
Motion by Mr. Foreman. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Sheehan. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheven,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yeah.
Julie Rivera.
Yes.
Randy Neiman.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Item 7 is special event 2 Old Goats Market, 12615 Wicker Avenue, October 10, 2020. Ms. Murr.
Council, again, this is another event on US 41, Wicker Avenue, wanting to have a car and bike show, trunk or treat, music, various items that is a little above special event building permit approval.
Is anyone here from Old Goat? What exactly is it, Joe? Concert?
Looks like a car and bike show and a trunk or treat and some music on a pretty big
They
piece
own
of
it.
property
Yeah, I
there.
think it's a great idea again.
I'm gonna ask for Tim and Bill can provide some input on this event. They were having some discussions in the building department. And I was wrapped up with something else.
Especially with the year those folks have probably had. I feel bad for anyone this year who started a business, it's brutal.
Chief Fisher or Mr. Kubiak, any comments?
I haven't seen any site plans where they're putting stuff yet. We just had a discussion about it and processes. I would have some concern about the traffic on 41 there only because of 125th right there going down the hill. But I think they have quite a bit of traffic going in and out anyways. They had a church there for a while too. So it's a big piece of property. I'd just like to see the way they want to set it up. There's going to be a lot of people there. There's no mention of security yet. So
According to, what I found out, this is the fourth, one of these events they've had. It was brought to their attention that they needed to get a permit for this type of thing, so they applied for one. They've had 3 others of these same type events.
And we never.
And we didn't even know.
I live across the street.
Kind of a long way to say.
Yeah.
It's,
They're doing a good job or?
it's gone fairly smooth.
I guess, I mean, with that being said, I agree that, I mean, we need to definitely get a standard for these special events, some type of a checklist and requirements. And
Yeah.
like we talked about earlier, that would go a long way to help them deal with these things.
Sure. Is there a motion by the council?
Make a motion to approve special event 2 Goat Market.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Foreman. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Sheehan. You're seconding all of John's motions.
We
Questions
only
or
got
discussion?
25 more to go.
Yeah, there's still.
There's plenty of time.
It'll be
Questions or
October
discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Scheven.
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yeah.
Julie Rivera.
Yes.
Randy Neiman.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Item 8, community crossing matching grant application. Ms. Murr.
Council, your street committee met last week. We discussed with Don and Tim projects to apply for the 2020-02, the second call for projects. It was determined to apply for 129th Avenue from Parish to US 41. It will have some storm components and potential for some sidewalk continuation. Applications are due Friday, October 23rd. It is our recommendation that council approve us applying for that.
Thank you. Is there a motion by the council on the town administrator's recommendation for application of community crossing matching grant? Motion by Mr. Sharp. Mr. Carnahan, would you like a second?
Yes.
Thank you. Second by Mr. Carnahan. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheven,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yeah.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Item number 9 is Park and Recreation Impact Fee Consultant Arch Group. Ms. Murr.
Council, this is your proposal for the 2021 Park and Rec Impact Fee Study for the town of Cedar Lake to engage Arch Group. Excuse me, to reevaluate the program and reanalyze our facility needs, the fee determination, the components of the ordinance, draft the impact fee ordinance, the final impact fee ordinance, public approval meetings coordination, as well as having meetings with the Park Impact Fee Advisory Committee. The
Thank you.
Advisory Committee is your next item on the agenda.
And this is something we have to do in having a Park and Recreation Impact Fee, I believe, every 5 years.
Correct.
Um,
So there's no lapse.
So Ms. Dixon asked a question earlier about the current usages of those monies. Ms. Murr, can you comment on that, please?
So council, at 2 of your previous meetings, you had discussed fencing, the parking lot, and improvements that are going in here based on all of the events that happen here on town grounds. We are working towards the proposals on a picnic shelter and restroom at Bartlett Walbert Park. Kiwanis Park had some parking lot. We started the parking lot improvements there. Those are a couple of them. that I
And
can
the
think
ladder
of
for
off the top of my
Bartlett
head.
Park. Aren't you looking at the ladder for
Yeah.
Bartlett Park?
No,
purchase
we're
of
not
the
gonna do a
property
ladder.
Well, and what we had talked about in some redevelopment commission meetings and briefly in here was also utilizing park impact fee money for the investment in a recreation trail, possibly along Moore Street. And
As
that's
well
in
as
continued
others.
discussions and engineering review.
Your proposal in front of you is for $19,296 and will be paid out of the park impact fee.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
There we go.
I'll
That's
second.
Number 1. Motion
I like
by
it, I
Ms.
like
Sheehan,
it.
second by Mr. Foreman.
No.
No, Ralph,
Ralph,
Mr. Miller.
Mr. Miller, you threw your voice. Sounded like John.
Trying to sound like Foreman these days.
And the
The
park
night's
impact
getting long.
fee is turned out to be a good thing for the community.
We need to really focus on investing those monies as they come in and have a good plan to execute every year. So we are showing improvements consistently. I don't think we've always done that, but we have some plans in place right now, but we need to execute them and do this every year.
Yeah, I think we're like $1,235 per permit. So that is adding up quickly in the last
We
year.
we
so-
have over $1 million in
Yes,
fund.
we do. It's
And
working
John,
out
you
nice.
suggested we replace this fence with wrought iron
She's
and
getting
use
close.
that money,
Yeah, she's getting close.
as long as we replace the fence.
I'm done fighting, taking out the fence, Bob. I lost
Okay,
that
very
battle for
good.
10 years. I give up.
We could do it.
Scratch the zip line too.
Oh.
We have a motion second on table. Any other questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Scheven.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Julia Rivera.
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 5-0 or 7-0. Good Lord.
Seven.
Did I make fun of you? I already forgot. Maybe I'll do it again. Item 10 is Park and Recreation Impact Fee Committee Member Appointments. Ms. Murr.
Council, your Park and Recreation Committee members met. The Park Advisory Committee members that we would like to appoint would be Rich Teal, Jolie
Kovach.
thank you, and Shelley Faber.
Question. Mr. Austin, can Joe Lee serve on that as well as on the redevelopment?
You can, not compensation,
All right.
no dual administrative office.
Okay, we have a recommendation from our Park and Rec Committee. Council members for Rich Teal, Jolie Kovach, and Shelley Faber to serve on the Park and Recreation Impact Fee Committee. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Sharp. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Sheehan. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheeben,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julia Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. And we'll just skip item 11. We've.
Time's running out.
I couldn't resist, Todd. Item 11 is year 2020 ambulance bid. Ms. Murph.
Oh, my.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, good
We're
stuff.
starting our meeting at 5:30. Council, we had the bid opening for the 2020 ambulance. It was held at 4:15 on September 30th here in the town hall. We received 3 bids. Fire services, $313,039. Horton, $298,758. And North Central of Osage ambulance, $298,785. A representative from North Central did note during the opening that the price listed after rebate and the pricing had a typo in it. The price after rebate was $294,485. It was also noted during the bid opening that fire services and North Central Osage were 2021 chassis. Horton was a 2020 chassis.
Okay. Mr. Austin, that note at the bottom, the price after rebate, is that allowed to be considered under statute?
It is.
Okay.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman. Joe, what state and or city, where's Horton located? I know fire services is in St. John. Where's Horton or Chief Todd, do you know? It's down south somewhere, I think. Is it Arkansas?
He doesn't want to answer you.
That's okay. I could Google it. My phone only has 1%.
No, I don't.
Well,
I did not grab that information.
and then also North Central, if you know it, but
North Central is in
Ohio.
Grove City,
Horton is in Grove City?
Grove City,
Okay.
Ohio.
North Central is in Missouri.
Missouri. Road Rescue.
Okay, so one's in Missouri, one's in Ohio. I guess where I'm going with this is that you guys know how I always think. I like to buy our police fire vehicles from our local guys if they have them. I like to buy our clerk treasurer's car from our local companies. I feel the same about fire services,
What do you feel about the state
We-
statute of
but
lowest
we have to
responsive and
ask the attorney
responsible?
what's allowed legally. The 2021 certainly makes sense. Being different than the 2020, I think that's a professional thing for us to think about, or a good thing. Mr. Austin, is there anything relevant to being able to choose even a $1 bid higher under those grounds?
You're responsible to the taxpayers to award. Responsible to
Fair enough.
really goes directly to the heart of whose money we're spending.
That's right.
Which in this case, based on the public record here, 294,485 is the bid of North Central. That's Osage, correct? That's a 2021 chassis?
Correct.
But they came in after the bid, I thought.
No,
said that was okay.
He was at the
it
bid.
was noted on public record. The attorney
Oh,
also said
after rebate.
that was allowable to add the rebate in.
Gotcha. Okay, those are the questions I had.
Is there a motion by the council on the awarding of the ambulance bid?
I'll make the motion to award the ambulance bid to North Central.
Motion by Ms. Sheehan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Rivera. Are there questions or discussion? Roll call vote.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheeben,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Neiman.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Is there a representative from North Central here? Do we have any idea when we might take delivery of that?
According to the documents, between 200 and 220 days.
Okay,
220 to 250 was the average on all of them.
awesome. Well, thank you for your
Yeah.
diligence on it.
And your
It's been a
patience.
process. So thanks to everyone who bid as well. We appreciate people's interest in our community and having 3 bidders. So good job, everyone. Look forward to getting the new ambulance. Item 12 is appraisal proposals for Miller and Vale. Ms. Murr.
Council, these are appraisal proposals recommended by your town attorney for a project we will be doing. The amounts of them are total $5,400, and our town attorney can elaborate more.
Mr. Austin?
We're pursuing the parcel acquisition that was directed by the town council. We need the appraisals to do that. These are gentlemen who have the credentials and have the knowledge of this area of land here in town from previous professional work that they've done for the town within the last year.
Thank you.
We can't announce the projects, right?
I don't recommend it.
Okay,
You're
all right,
in land acquisition.
right, okay.
Thank you. Is there a motion by the council on the appraisal proposals for a total of $5,400 in the aggregate for Miller and Vale?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the appraisal proposals.
Motion by Ms. Rivera. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Scheeben. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheeben,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yeah.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Neiman.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Lucky number 13.
I like it.
Board of Safety, Police Department, new officers. I have a letter in my hands here. Dear Mr. Niemeyer, from Lester C. Caper, Chairman of the Cedar Lake Board of Safety, the following candidates have been selected by the Cedar Lake Board of Safety by a vote of 5 in favor and none against, to be given conditional offers of employment on October 5, 2020 public meeting. Candidates completed an extensive physical and mental screening, background check, and interviews by the Cedar Lake Police Board and Cedar Lake Board of Safety. The candidates are Alexis Dills.
Correct.
And Bradley Kamstra. The Board of Safety also extended a list of potential candidates to be in effect until October 1, 2021, at which time the list will expire. These 2 candidates have been notified they are currently on a list and can be called upon should a position open within the ranks of the Cedar Lake Police Department. Those names are Benjamin Tomko and Richard Stirk. Signed, Lester C. Caper. Is there a motion by the council to approve based on the recommendation of the Cedar Lake Board of Safety, both the candidates for hire for police officers and the 2 candidates to be added to the active list?
Mr. Chairman, are any of the gentlemen here or ladies? No? Okay.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Carnahan,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Rivera. Questions or discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Colleen Scheeben,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Randy Neiman.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Chief Fisher.
Sir.
Appreciate the extra people on the list. Is something that we had talked about in budget meetings, was looking ahead in the department at people that'll be retiring. And so it's good that we're getting ahead of this a little bit and being proactive, because we're going to need it. So thank you for the work on this. Town council reports. Council Affairs Committee. We have a meeting tomorrow. Myself, Ralph, and Rick, as well as Jen, Jill, Margot, is that correct? We'll be meeting with representatives of Henrietta Insurance to go over their proposal for next year's benefits, health insurance, vision, dental, to go over their proposal for that package. Anything else on that, Jill?
No, everything else on council affairs, street committee and park and recreation, we pretty much discussed during various agenda items this evening.
Street committee, one item. Bob and I were a part of a call with representatives of INDOT, Lake County, the town of St. John, the town of Sherrville, the town of Cedar Lake. Discussion was about a joint partnership project on the Klein Avenue extension through St. John, as well as improvements through the unincorporated area of Lake County and into Cedar Lake.
Sherrville also.
Yeah, and connecting into Sherrville. So it was a good discussion. It's one of those large planning items that has been in the queue for NERC for a while, and it was discussed of the possibility of widening it to 3 lanes. I brought up that, Klein Avenue is one of the main arteries into the town off of a US highway. And it's still kind of a horse and buggy path. More and more people are moving into the area and utilize that road as an alternate to US 41. Right now, we and Bob can vouch for this, we can't really locate an available funding source because the area is not TIFed. It would be an 80-20 project. So in order for us to participate, we would have to come up with a kind of a preliminary plan pretty fast because they're going to be putting in applications here probably next month.
But what do we owe?
We only owe a small amount.
Yeah, we only owe.
We only go to 125th.
Yeah, 125th.
My argument there would be, it should be 4 lanes.
I don't disagree with you, but I don't think you could get the county to bite on that. Because they have a large section of unincorporated road that connects to 231, and without that connector being improved, it really does no good to make our little portion.
Or did they talk about from 231 to 30 being 4 lanes?
No, everything was about a 3-lane road,
Three-lane.
turn lane in the middle.
And then that cornfield that goes from Klein Avenue, that is a cornfield.
Goes from
that
101st
Yeah.
to 93rd.
They want to bring it through there.
Yeah, Klein would go right through
When
there.
Commissioner Tippy first got elected, I brought that subject matter up. I just felt like before a developer gets a hold of the field, perfect time. It's a little swampy, a little wetland.
St.
But-
John's got the biggest dog in the hunt in this thing, and they are really moving forward on it aggressively, as well they should, because that's a good relief artery to their community and a good connecting point to Sherrville.
And I couldn't believe that Lake Central owned that cornfield.
Yeah, Lake Central owns a good portion of that land.
Hmm.
So that was a call that Bob and I attended.
Were you able, I went to St. John Town Hall yesterday and they said that was a typo, that
Yeah.
it was for today. I couldn't make
Yeah,
today.
I couldn't make it either, so I haven't gotten an update on what the
Okay.
call was today. I think they're gonna move forward with the application, probably with just St. John, possibly Sherrville. The county right now doesn't have it in their queue of funding for road improvements other than a mill and resurface on Klein from 231 to the south. So it's not something that they've really got in their planning documents either. So the timing's a little off for certain entities, for Cedar Lake and for Lake County, but for St. John and Sherrville, it seems like it makes perfect sense.
Totally agree with that.
Park and Recreation Committee. I think we covered that stuff, right?
Yep.
Any other town council reports? Bob, census.
Sad to say, we're still at 76.2. And St. John is at 88.
They win again. Okay.
People wonder
And
why they have
and
nice
we
things.
did everything we could, and I'm not sure if they are extending it to October 31st. A judge said they couldn't end it on September 30th, but I heard they were going to appeal that, so I don't know if we've got to October 30th.
Well, thank you for your hard work, Bob. It's by no lack of effort on your part. You work hard at it.
I did the best of my ability, and I had a good crew that worked with me too.
Yeah, unfortunately, people don't think it's important, and it really is.
But when they start complaining about the roads and stuff, we don't have their $27,100 for every person that lives in their household. We need to ask them, did you fill out the census form?
Right? Very true. Thanks, Bob. Any other council reports? Town attorney? Clerk treasurer?
Mr. President, I have for your signature this evening my second coronavirus reimbursement request to the IFA. In the last week, more guidance has come out, and now we can presume that all payroll costs for public safety employees from March 1st through the end of the year are substantially dedicated to responding to COVID-19, and they are saying it is now eligible. So I will be requesting the remaining amount that we have
Very good.
for our community,
That's
which
great
was
news.
just over 400,000.
Great news. Thank you. That's a good report. Item 4 is town administrator.
Council, backing up your budget that you had the first reading on this evening, one of the items we're tying to that is approving the 2021 salary ordinance so that it's in line with the budget. So we're anticipating having that draft for you at your next meeting.
Okay,
Also, we have an update on all of the paving projects. Noble Oaks was completed today. Monastery Woods South, the landscaping, while I reported yesterday was supposed to be done today, it will be completed this week. We don't have a
And
definite
while
date
you're
for the
mentioning that, Jill, somebody was complaining, why are they doing Monastery Woods when 129th is so bad? And I explained to them that we're gonna try to do that in the spring, but that was done out of money that from a credit, right? Yes, we
pulled out a maintenance bond. Bob.
Yeah,
that was because the project was never completed to standard.
I just wanted to look that up because they're saying on Facebook, why are you doing that in there?
Don't worry about Facebook, Bob. Ms. Merck, continue.
As previously reported, your town club outlet project was completed, substantial completion today, with the exception of the asphalt. That'll come when we come around to put the next layer on, and there'll be some tie-in with the drive there. Structures will be adjusted for the Houghton Place project around the project lines. A milling crew has freed up with Walsh and Kelly. It's anticipated that the edge milling will occur on Friday now. The town hall parking lot is being finished up with all the prep work. Walsh and Kelly is supposed to be putting binder down Monday, surface on Tuesday, and farmer's market on Wednesday. We're trying to time around that. Striping will come into the community all at once. So all of our projects will be put in, but the striping crew will come out all at once. So you may see a week or so lag in the striping on the project.
And the Houghton Place project also includes a finished coat of asphalt on top of what's there, correct?
Correct.
And also, Tim, you told me something about, and I lost track of what I was gonna say.
So we're all losing track right now, Bob. It's been a long meeting.
And with the whole update too is your Fairbanks 129 heading
I need to
north.
go to bed.
So as the timeline is more detailed and defined, I will let everyone know, and we'll post on our various updates on our website, social media, etc. That's all I have for this evening.
Director of Operations.
I just want to say, when you guys drive my town club ditch, take a look at it. Not only the ditch, but take a look at the property in between. Lakeshore Drive and the lake. I mean, we did a lot of extra work in there and replaced all of that old stuff. We got rid of all the bushes and trees and closet culverts. Metro Jet Boys did an awesome job over there. And there's a little hut between that and the public works guys. We got all that stuff cleaned up. It looks like, I mean, when you go by there, take a look at it.
Good.
Looks like $1 million over there. I mean, everything is fixed. There's nothing at all left to fix over there. It's nice to see stuff like that. Also, just to say that with Metro is doing some stormwater improvements with all these road repairs and PGX, helping us through the parking lot and culvert. It was a very good resource that those guys have been contractors to get We've gotten a lot of stuff fixed in a short amount of time, so it's been hectic, but it's been good to have that help.
Well, and I'll tell
I
you,
remember that you told me about the drainage out here. It's gonna help the police department.
I hope so.
Metro has, they did the excavating on that Lincoln Plaza. And now they've done substantial excavating here. They've really been participating and stepping up here locally quite a bit and doing really good work. So it's good to see them being a very competitive bidder and winning some of these bids, and they're doing a great job. And PGX too is another local company that steps up and dives in and helps us out. So
Plus he makes fun of Tim, which is pretty funny.
what's that?
PGX makes fun of Tim a lot, so it's pretty funny.
Does Dan Giacalona do a Tim impression?
He does. They work hard.
It's funny. Anything else, Tim? Police Department, Chief Fisher.
Council, I have been appointed to introduce to you the RAVE program that's going to be starting here, coming up in lieu of our old Code Red system. So the RAVE system is equivalent to what we have currently, which is the Code Red system. The RAVE was purchased by the Lake County Homeland Security, but the best part about the RAVE program is absolutely free. We won't have to pay anything for Code Red anymore because we'll be able to use RAVE because Department of Homeland Security purchased it for all the communities in Lake County.
Great.
The one thing that is good about this RAVE system, which it will do the same alerting that Code Red does. We'll be able to alert particular areas. We actually had some training with the fire department, Cliff and myself recently, Sarah as well. You can pick particular areas that need to be alerted, whether it's a water issue or a fire issue. We can send out alerts to those areas. But the biggest part about RAVE, not just being free and saving us almost $5,000 a year, is a system called Smart 911. Smart 911 is going to be implemented in 2021 to both Southcom and Central Dispatch. Smart 911 is an app that you can apply to your phone that will actually, you're actually able to put information that you want them to have should you happen to call 911. So if you're a person that has some severe medical problems, whether it be diabetes or something that's severe, you can put that on the app, and when your phone calls 911, it will pop up on the screen for the dispatcher so that they know what your medical conditions are. You can put as much as you want or as little as you want. Smart 911 only requires 3 things: name, address, and phone number. But you can put all kinds of stuff in there. You can have your kids in there. You can have photos of them. And it's a non-searchable field, which means that dispatch can't just go in there whenever they wanted to if they, for a law enforcement purpose, and search that field, because it's only one direction. So it only works when you call 911. It only comes up for about 15 minutes. It only comes up for about 15 minutes and then it deletes from the screen. So it is a helpful tool, particularly for EMS, probably the most, because, or even fire in the case of a house fire or something, because, for instance, I started my app and I put in there that I have a dog in my house. So if I call 911 for a house fire, it's going to come up on the screen to Central telling them that I have a dog in the house, and they can notify the fire department, handicap as well. So Southcom and Central have already adopted the program of RAVE, as well as Smart 911. Smart 911 does have a minor cost to it of $2,500. It's still a savings over Code Red. It will just be added, I'm assuming, into the Southcom normal payment plan. It actually saved the town of Cherville $7,500, and it saved us $2,500. Cherville was paying $15,000 a year for Code Red. Wow. Yeah, and we were paying $5,000, and it's going to save us money. But this feature for Smart 911 is really going to be amazing for the citizens. We're talking about, once COVID is slowed down, getting some computers together at some of our town functions to help citizens register for Smart 911 to help them out, because it could be a taxing issue. So we'll be there to help them, set them up, help them on their phones or whatever, if they choose. Won't cost anything to the citizens. It's just an app they put on their phone like they do a weather map. So we're pretty excited about it. Any questions?
I read that in the paper. Sounds
Yeah.
pretty good.
Apologize for the preemptive Facebook blast out there for the Smart 911. We had went to a training council at Cherville with the Homeland Security, and he attached it to a bunch of people who then sent it out before we had actually opportunity to talk to you guys about it. So
I like when the decisions are made before we even get here.
yeah, it was something. I think the purpose behind it was because Southcom had adopted it, and they're part of Cedar Lake and Cherville, so I think that's why it went out as fast as it did. But it's definitely going to be a phenomenal tool for our emergency services.
And I had discussion with Chief Fisher about this, and I said, why don't we do this? He says, we're already doing it.
I'm already there, buddy.
Good.
Only other few things. I have another meeting with Axon on Wednesday, tomorrow, for a new camera system for vehicles, just trying to get better pricing. I've been in constant communication with the administrators to see what we can do for funding. It's just very costly, so I'm just going to keep plugging at it till I find a grant or we can find a way to do it. So, and I I tasked my lieutenant with beginning to rewrite or update our standard operating procedures. So that process has now begun. We have been in contact directly with Henriot Group and their legal staff to review any policies from looking at them from nationwide current policies that they use. They're completely on board, said we will help out because I think it will help out us in insurance as well. When they know that we're following policy that are nationwide policies and stuff like that. So Jill has hooked me up with them. So I have their direct contact. He's actually given us a few programs that we can utilize to try to help it as well. And we've been in contact directly with Cherville, who gave us their entire standard operating procedure manual, which is all certified by CLIA. So, which is a huge cost. That's like $20,000 a year, but they're CLIA certified. So it's certified policies that we can look at too and reference while we get these done. So then we can start approaching the Board of Safety, getting those approved and getting them in front of you guys. I think we have to do, right? Or just the Board of Safety. Do we bring them in front of you or just the Board of Safety? Okay, thanks, Dave. So, but I'm pretty excited about it. One of the tasks that I told you when I became chief that I wanted to get accomplished. So we're finally getting there now that COVID's.
Yeah, one of the things we'll be looking at in our insurance review is workman's comp and taking a proactive approach to training and mitigation of risk. So some of those things you're working on there with your SOPs will probably lend to that as well, because workman's comp is a problem. No.
Oh,
for the whole town.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those things you got to really review and take
Sure.
time to look at what you can do better.
Sure.
Because our risk number is not good.
Well, I'm hoping that this will help out. I do think we actually had a good conversation today about the cameras and that actually potentially helping us in that risk factor.
That's
as well.
accountability. That's great.
Right, as accountability purposes. So we're trying. The first quote I got was $186,000 for. So it's expensive, but I believe needed expense. So we're going to keep plugging at it until we find a way to fund it. Keep going.
Keep working.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Chief.
Yep.
Fire department?
Due to the lateness, I'm gonna take my 25 items. Just discuss 3 of them.
Appreciate it.
We're honored, Chief.
First thing I'd like to do is just thank the ambulance committee for getting this project done. I know there was some hiccups and some issues. At the end of the day, I think we have a very good quality ambulance that will.
And actually a newer one than what we originally started with.
Will actually serve our community well for quite a few years. And Cliff helped out. Dave on some of the stuff that made the second go around way better. Also, the capital improvement money that's set aside next year for the fire department. I also like the council and Jen also and Jill for working hard on, and our consultant on getting some upgrades to our fire station. Desperately needed. repairs and upgrades, so. And tomorrow we'll be participating in a funeral for a firefighter out of South Holland, who passed the line of duty. So one of our fire trucks up in the Illinois area will be part of that procession as well. Maybe some of the people. The firefighter that died also trained with our guys in the dive rescue aspect of it. He actually did help us with the Trump rally here. Out, spent the whole day. He's the type of guy that every single department would want in their department. So it was very tragic. We sent good representation up there tonight and we'll be participating. That's all I have.
Good to hear.
Thank you, Chief. And sorry for the loss of the families. Dylan Cunningham?
Yeah.
Written communication, Christopher Burke report.
Council, the last item to report on, we worked with Don at Christopher Burke on was applying for the NDOT Railroad Grade Crossing Fund. While a small grant, we were awarded $11,400, and that's for restriping at all of the railroad crossings throughout the community. One of the things we were able to find out is how we want to upgrade some of the crossings is some more contacts we can reach out to at NDOT to do that project, and we will have more information coming forward. But however small of the grant, that's the road striping that we don't have to pay for out of our local road striping fund.
Hey, Jill, since we're trying to get the community crossing grant funding for 129th, can we or should we be on the ball with Norfolk? Is it Norfolk Southern?
We can reach out to them
About
and let them-
redoing that railroad crossing, because it's as bad as the road.
We can reach out to them and let them know our plans,
Okay.
but
Railroad
They
crossing
work at
takes an
their own
army
pace.
tank to get across.
It's brutal.
we can try. We can let them know.
And then I did have one question for Jill. Lamika, any update on Henriette with the new resubmittals and our?
No.
Okay. I get a text about once every 2 weeks.
And the government moves slowly,
Thank you.
unfortunately. Anything else, Jill, on the written report?
No, that is all.
We will move to public comments. Open public comments. You were very patient and
I
It is
feel bad for
greatly
you guys
appreciated.
being here on the night when we had so many items. It's
That is
brutal.
absolutely okay. You can maybe give us everything, being patient with us. Bill Setchin, 7506 West 134th Place in Cedar Point Park. At here at the suggestion of Mr. Miller. And I know that the chief has been brought up to speed on some of this in the past. Property at 7210 West 134th Place, owned by one Christopher Martin, rented by one Vinnie Gallo. We have some concerns in the subdivision relative to this. 3 areas of concern: public nuisance, safety issues, and harassment. On the public nuisance front, the folks who are living there have constant bonfires in the front yard that run all hours of the day, year-round, stacking of pallets, building materials, firewood and other burnables in the front yard, occasionally hanging in the public way, constant parties in the front yard, steady drinking. Some appear to be minors, the parties moving into the street and adjacent properties at times, generally creating and perpetuating blight at the entrance to Cedar Point Park. We'll call it the gates of Cedar Point Park. It's like the house, courthouse down and you pull in.
I know which one you speak of. Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
well, we're gonna keep going here. Yes. Parking vehicles in the middle of the street, fully blocking already narrow street for 5 minutes, 15 minutes an hour, and feeling it's justified to block the street because they have a quote unquote need. Safety issues, parties encroaching into the street, placement and storage of signage and other items in the street. Vehicles parked on the curb, sometimes on the street, not allowing proper viewing angles for oncoming traffic. Young children at play who can pop out of one of these obstructions into oncoming traffic on already very narrow roads, and making it incumbent on the public, all of us who live there, to avoid them and avoid hurting somebody due to them being encamped in a public way. On the harassment front, vulgar, profanity-laced harassment of the neighbors and passersby that increases as the party progresses. Constant harassment of oncoming vehicles to quote unquote slow down when they aren't speeding, meaning they sit there and they yell at us all. car by car, and general vulgar disturbances at all hours of the night as the party progresses. And if you want to touch on ordinance violations, I'm sure there are several. I'm accompanied by my mother here, who has been yelled at. She lives just adjacent to this property. Unfortunately, the big problem is that as residents of the community pull in, they drive past it, takes 1 second, then out of sight, out of mind. And while they don't like it, they think it's appalling. It's out of sight, out of mind. A lot of seasonal residents who are really distraught about this, but also don't want to bring it up because they're afraid that they're going to be vandalized because they're not around. Unfortunately, my mother lives adjacent to this property and has to deal with this 24/7. Can't open her windows in the summer because there's a bonfire burning 24/7 with the smoke burning directly at her, blowing directly at her house, well, and the noise and all the rest of it. My mother has been harassed by them, yelled at them, called bitch by them from across the street. The woman, Mary, I believe her name was, got into it over the weekend with the two of us while we were standing on her property. We did not initiate the conversation. We called the police several times, and my mother has had a meeting with the chief to talk about this, and it has not improved, it's only worsened. So we would like for you guys to take that under advisement and maybe advise us what to do or advise us what can be done.
And myself also as a resident, 13512 Dewey, that's my.
What's your name?
Michael Schultz.
Michael?
My
Thank you.
main thoroughfare in and out of the subdivision, especially when I've been in my license plated, slow moving vehicle, so it's not a golf cart. Car only goes about 25 miles an hour. I've got things thrown at me. Thankfully, nothing has ever hit me. But I'm constantly being harassed every time I come in and out of the subdivision, whether it's in this car. Actually, she spit at me the other day when I was in my convertible. Thankfully, again, didn't hit us, but again, this is becoming a nuisance.
Is this the same area that you came here once before and talked to us?
No.
about?
That's why I told them to come. No, that they were up on top of the hill, the other one.
Okay.
Same glorious.
Yeah.
So, Chief, in your interaction and meetings, where are we at with
I
this?
went and had a conversation with Mr. Gallo after I spoke with Mom. And he informed me that he would try to settle it down. Until I talked to Mr. Miller today, I was not aware that it was still getting worse. I apologize for that. There's definitely violations that I've heard when you were talking, and some of them are protected. So some things I can't do and some things I can do. I would gladly sit down with you guys and let's figure out a game plan and go forward.
Welcome to that discussion.
Did you say this was a rental property?
It is a
People
rental.
renting it?
Yes, Christopher Martin owns another home up on the hill. I think there was issues in the spring where there was some silting of the lake that was unfortunate. We've done a lot of work on the lake. The same individual, I believe, dumped a bunch of more dirt down where the hill's out there. He had a permit to jack his house up, excavate a basement, and all the remnants of that, yards and yards and yards of soil, he dumped down the hill, high hill, Cedar Point Park. One of the spring rains came and flushed all that into our storm drain and huge silting into the lake. So we've got an individual that does as he pleases in the subdivision, and this is kind of constant behavior and has been over the years. This is the newest thing, and they're relatives. Gallows and Chris Martin are relatives, and this is just what we're doing.
Mr. Austin, what can we do from a legal standpoint as well as from a law enforcement, but with this flushing of dirt and things down storm drains and stuff like that? What are?
Yeah. Because when that came up, Tim and I had talked, and Tim went down, and it was.
The dirt came from the detention pond. I mean, it looked terrible in the videos, and it really did. It was basically like dumping a cup of brown food coloring with the water. I mean, it looked atrocious, but the piping and the place where that water came from was not full of mud. It didn't really look, I mean, it looked terrible. We did look into that. It was essentially dumping a cup of food coloring into clean water, making it. I mean, the videos look like there was chocolate milk going into the lake. That's correct. Unfortunately, it didn't take a real lot of clay to make it.
So getting back to what I was saying, are there measures, it seems to me like the people here have presented a pretty good case that their liberty is being infringed upon by their neighbor.
Bonfire.
I think there's some nuisance that has significant legal meaning and description based upon the fact pattern.
Can't they press charges against that person that spit on it? That could spread COVID.
They can't spread anything. Well, Indiana has a code against battery with bodily fluids. So.
I didn't call the police at that time. In fact, I was leaving the subdivision for the day, but I did call when I had another projectile thrown at me. And the
Yeah.
police did show up and they discussed it with the individual. But that's where it came from.
Did it do any damage?
No, I was missed.
But a report still could have been taken.
It still was.
Oh, the report was taken.
Okay, good.
I wasn't at the press party.
My guys go there, they're doing a report. That's always.
We've been asking for reports about just so we can continue to have this conversation, the more reports, the more.
Do they come on your property physically? Do they like walk?
They have been on
Your
her
mother?
property. One of the reasons she got referred to as the B word is because they have a dog that is off leash and decides to wander directly across the property, and she gets asked to keep the dog in the dog's mess.
Mhm.
The lawn, which is what she gets called.
The dog's supposed to be leashed.
The dog is not leashed all the time.
So when does, when does,
What should we be doing? I mean, we need to be filing a report every single time. I mean, it almost feels like we're being nuisance to the police, but.
no,
No, that's my
Don't
job.
feel
That's
like
my
that.
guy's job. That you need to call us whenever you have incidents because I can't, the problem is this, is that you'll have one incident that sounds pretty bad and then you'll have 5 or 6 others that we don't even know about
Better.
because you're
Wow.
tired of doing it and then call me again and you want something done. But I only know of 2 incidents and you had 15. So we need to know about them.
kind of about building a case, right?
Absolutely. I mean, our town
Developing a
attorney talked
pattern.
about the term nuisance. Well, it can't be a nuisance with 2 incidents. I'm telling you right now, I've been in court. 2 incidents can't be a nuisance, but 15 can. So that's where I would say start. I can send my code enforcement officer over there to make sure there's no code violations. I had a talk with Mr. Gallo. Unfortunately, I thought it was resolved because you had expressed your problem. I think what in July, June-ish? Yeah, June-ish. So I thought it would be corrected and as I had a decent rapport with them, but it apparently was not. So we'll take the next step.
Well, at some point, we have to sit down with you to understand.
Absolutely.
And understand like where the violations are and what we should be following.
Absolutely.
Well, the constant burning is one violation.
Yeah, that's a
Mhm.
violation.
The other issue is it's not only Mr. Gallo, it's Mr. Gallo's family, his wife, and then the swarm of guests that they have in for any party, which is a big.
Trust me, I know they used to live on Moss Street.
Yeah, they're up on the hill before, they're hidden up there, and this has been going on since.
That was when they were growing up.
I got it.
Please
So-
be proactive with our chief. It sounds like we just got to develop a pattern, a really, frequency of incidents, and hopefully then the case can be built to take some pretty major steps against them.
Yeah, I got a question before I go. Todd, you said the burning was illegal. If they have a fire pit, can they have a fire in their yard?
Recreational small campfire, 3x3, only for clean wood. You can't burn yard waste, you can't burn pallets, you can't burn railroad ties, which some people think. Is there a limit where that can be located on? Yes, 16 feet away from any structure.
Oh. Not making that one.
Fence line or street. Yeah, if it's out in the street, it's definitely.
No, it's not.
It's
It's
right on.
not in the street, but their yard is as big as the table.
Yeah, then they shouldn't be having fires. at all. It's as big as this table.
Are there time restraints that can burn 24/7 on certain days?
Well, it's supposed to be recreational only.
Is it like the Springfield tire fire from The Simpsons?
They're out there drinking beer 24 hours.
Happening in Chicago too in 90.
Jeez, oh, Pete.
Well, I guarantee you it's not 16 feet from either the home or the street.
Yeah, there's not 32 feet there.
That's horrible.
I know. Sounds
Well, please work with the chief. You're at the right place with the right guy. These are the people that can do something about it. So unfortunately, none of us carry a badge. So the best thing is to work with them. And if there's measures that need to be taken, our attorney will represent the interest of the town and back up the chief. So we'll be ready to go.
And that's why we sat through that very long.
Like Again,
They're usually not this long.
we don't have 25 items on every
Well,
meeting.
you did that on purpose.
Let's see if they wait it out.
Yeah. But not tonight. No, it's going home and going to bed tonight.
Thank
But
you.
thank you for sitting through this.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Wow. Public comments. Any other public comments? Third and final call. Public comment is closed. Thank you. You showed mercy on us, everyone. Our next town council public meeting is Tuesday, October 20th, 2020 at 7 PM. We will have a utility board meeting prior to that at 6:30. So everyone have a safe night. Thank you for coming. This meeting is adjourned.